Welcome to Growing in Uncertainty. My name is Tess Miller, and through my seminar and coaching business, Wings Unfolded, I help professionals who are ready to transition from the life that they used to really want to the one for which they were made. I believe that life is a series of transitions. We transition in mind, body, and spirit, and are constantly developing and growing. Sometimes the transitions, though, can be really scary, and sometimes we can get stuck in the process of transitioning, especially when we are stuck on the idea that, but I used to be happy here. Why am I not happy anymore? My intention is to help as many people as possible through their life transitions by sharing how I'm navigating through mine. And through these videos, I offer insights, tips, ideas, and maybe even courage to get through the times in your life when you feel stuck or you really just can't decide what you want to do, so that you can keep moving in the direction that serves your highest good. So we've all heard that expression, every cloud has a silver lining. This came up for my family recently when we received a package that we were highly anticipating for several weeks. I have a friend who lives in Germany, and she had told me that she'd sent us a package for the holidays back on November 15th, and it just arrived last weekend. So if that gives you an idea of how the USPS has been managing all of the packages, well, then there you go. So anyway, we unwrapped all of our presents, and one of the presents was a photo book specifically for my child from the time when my friend and her daughter were visiting in the summer of 2019. And my child was really excited to flip through this book and remember all of the things that we did together. And he ended up stopping on the page where it evidently it was a page of pictures that showed what we did on my child's favorite day ever, apparently, or favorite day so far anyway. And he took us through all of the events of that day, remembering what happened, pointing to different pictures. And my husband suddenly said, well, wait a minute, isn't that the same day that you had a really bad bike accident and you fell in the gravel and hurt yourself really bad? And my son said, well, yeah, actually it was. And so my husband asked, well, then why is that your favorite day when something so bad happened? And what my child had to say was really interesting, because he said that it was actually because of the bike accident that ended up being the best day ever. And this, of course, made us ask a lot more questions. Like, really? What? Why was that the best day ever? Well, apparently what had happened was my child was expecting that after the accident, everyone would be giving him way too much attention and doting over him and fawning over him. And what ended up happening was right around that same time, my sister and nephew showed up, and all of a sudden the attention turned away from my child and onto my nephew, who was wearing a very specific hat. And this hat was from a show called Gravity Falls. It's a cartoon, so people of a certain age might remember that cartoon. But my child had just recently developed a love for this TV show. So when he saw his cousin wearing that hat, it made him realize, oh my gosh, my cousin and I have this huge thing in common. And so they were able to bond over that TV show for the rest of the day. And I think also, unbeknownst to us and to my child, that moment kind of ushered in a new era for him. It was a new era of discovery, of who he is, what he enjoys, and how he wants to express himself in the world. We all have those things, right? Those things that when you explain it to other people, well, I fell in love with this movie, or I fell in love with this book, and now I am the person that I am today. And it might seem a little silly on the surface, but deep down, it really holds a lot of meaning for us. So even though there was that painful experience of falling on the bike, it also symbolizes in my kid's mind that, wow, that was the beginning of who I am today. And it's a really special moment. But if he hadn't been open, if he had decided that, nope, that bike accident's going to ruin my whole day, then he might not have been open to the experience of what did end up unfolding for him. So this story was definitely a perspective that I wanted to unpack today for myself and for everyone watching. We all have challenges in our lives, and these challenges oftentimes require a response from us. Sometimes they even require a change that we have to make in our lives. And how we end up responding shapes how we view the initial challenge later on in life. But if we decide too quickly whether a challenge or a life experience is either good or bad, then we might close ourselves off from really seeing what the silver lining of that experience is. It's my belief that every experience in life has a silver lining. And apparently it's Ophira's too, as she's meowing in agreement right now. Before I get into the idea of every cloud having a silver lining, I really wanted to know, where in the heck did this expression come from anyway? So I looked it up and found on a website called phrases.org that the phrase was influenced by something that John Milton had written in 1634 in a poem called Comus, a Masque Presented at Ludlow Castle. And the poem goes like this: I see ye visibly, and now believe that he, the supreme good, to whom all things ill are but as slavish officers of vengeance, would send a glistering guardian, if need were, to keep my life and honor unassailed. Was I deceived, or did a sable cloud turn forth her silver lining on that night? I did not err. There does a sable cloud turn forth her silver lining on the night and casts a gleam over this tufted grove. Doesn't sound exactly like every cloud has a silver lining. That turn of the phrase didn't come about until 1840, when there was a review of the novel Marian by Mrs. S. Hall. And this review was done by someone named Caddy McCain. And Caddy McCain wrote, quote, "There's a silver lining to every cloud that sails about the heavens if we could only see it," unquote. So the idea of clouds having silver linings stems from the 1600s, but it was something that perpetuated through all that time, and we still use it today. And yet, despite this being in a lot of our literature, we have a tendency to forget to look for the silver linings in our lives, especially when something challenging comes to our doorstep. I fully and freely admit that when the pandemic hit, I had a really hard time seeing the silver lining of this situation. However, with time, I'm now able to see that prior to the pandemic, my lifestyle was quite hamster wheelish. I was constantly rushing and pushing to get to the next place that I needed to be, and never really felt like I had a moment to process what was going on. So the pandemic really provided me with the opportunity to create a lifestyle that was very different from what I had been experiencing up until that point, and to try it on for size for a while. At this point, I don't know what I'm going to go back to. Will I go back to my life the way it was before the pandemic? I'm not sure. I'm going to have to really think about that. So sometimes the silver lining of a challenging situation in life doesn't always come to our awareness right away. Sometimes it can take weeks, months, years, decades. And I certainly don't want to diminish big events like the loss of a loved one or the loss of a relationship. But even in those biggest losses, there can be small acts of grace that people will always remember if they can stay open long enough to be aware of them. I want to read a story from one of my favorite children's books by the author John J. Muth. It's called Zen Shorts. And in this book, it highlights 3 different Zen stories. The one that I'm going to be reading is an old Taoist story. It's called The Farmer's Luck. So, let me just find it here. All right, I'll show you the pictures afterwards, but here's how it goes. There was once an old farmer who had worked his crops for many years. One day, his horse ran away. Upon hearing the news, his neighbors came to visit. "Such bad luck," they said sympathetically. "Maybe," the farmer replied. The next morning, the horse returned, bringing with it 2 other wild horses. "Such good luck," the neighbors exclaimed. "Maybe," replied the farmer. The following day, his son tried to ride one of the untamed horses, was thrown off, and broke his leg. Again, the neighbors came to offer their sympathy of his misfortune. "Such bad luck," they said. "Maybe," answered the farmer. The day after that, military officials came to the village to draft young men into the army to fight in a war. Seeing that the son's leg was broken, they passed him by. "Such good luck," cried the neighbors. "Maybe," said the farmer. Oh, I'm going to show you the pictures. They're very simple. I hope you can see that. So what I take away from that story is that when life throws you a curveball, it's important to try not to decide right away whether what happened was either good or bad. It's important to trust that more about what just happened will be revealed in time, and to wait for the silver lining to present itself. You might have to wait longer than you really want to, but it will come. And the silver lining may not be exactly what you think it's going to be. You know, sometimes we can project, oh, I think maybe the good thing that's going to come out of this is, fill in the blank. But sometimes we don't really know exactly what it's going to be. Every event that happens to us is like a milestone marking our distance so far on this journey. And each milestone has something to teach us, as long as we're open to it. And if we can stay open to what we're learning, we can definitely be wiser by the end of our journey. So the next time life hands you lemonades, don't make lemonade right away. Try to wait and see what the lemons are here to teach you. Wait and see what the silver lining might be. And if you don't yet know how you want to respond to a life situation or something that you've been dealt, that might mean that it's not time to act yet. Just wait until you have more information so that you do know how you want to respond. Many of us haven't been raised in a culture that teaches us to wait. But I like to use the acronym WAIT for a lot of different things. One of them is, why am I talking? You know, those situations when you're having a conversation with someone and maybe you're not fully listening to what they have to say. So it's good to wait and really think about, well, why am I talking? What do I really have to offer in this situation? Maybe I should just be listening. Another way I like to use the acronym WAIT is, why am I typing? And this one is really helpful for when I might read a triggering comment on Facebook and I might want to get right in there and respond and set someone straight about something. But then I have to ask myself, is that really the best way to respond in this moment? Or would there be a better way to respond? You know, why would I really be typing in that moment? In this situation that I'm talking about today, I'd like to use the acronym WAIT for, why am I thinking? And what I mean by that is sometimes we can get caught in a thought loop. We can find ourselves thinking over and over again about something that has happened, something that's challenging us. And we're trying really hard to figure something out. But if I'm trying to figure something out and I'm working that hard, that must mean that I don't have all the information yet, right? So if you can wait and allow more information to come, then that will help you know exactly how you want to respond later on. So this week, I want to see if you can wait and ask yourself, why am I thinking? And see what opportunities open up for you when you do that. See what new insights come to you. And see what silver linings might present themselves to you and help you learn something that you might not have learned had it not happened that way in the first place. And remember how my focus word for this year is freedom. By waiting, I allow myself the freedom to stay open to all the possibilities that life may have to offer me in any given moment. So I'd love to hear how this message resonates with you. If you'd like to help me out, please like or share these videos with friends and family who might really benefit from these topics too. And if you want more free stuff, you can subscribe to my weekly email list. I deliver free resources, updates, and developments in my offerings straight to your inbox. And if you're ready to embark on some transitions in your life, consider setting up a free coaching session with me. You can sign up on my website, www.tess-miller.com. Go to the services, click on the Test Your Wings complimentary session, and set up a time on my calendar. You can also find me on Facebook under my business name, Wings Unfolded, or you can find me by name, Tess Miller, on LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. Feel free to send me a private message. I'd love to connect with you. And remember that it's okay to be stuck, but you don't have to stay there. Take care and have an awesome week.